Trail Seeker Adventures heads to the GNCC Buckwheat 100 in Newburg, West Virginia, my hometown. Got a decent start, but almost went down. Made some passes. Good friend AW told me to hit a tree, so I did. Then I had to get back on the bike and work my way back to the finish. Come along and see how I did. That's right, after taking care of some business, I'm ready to race. I'm racing the 50A in the morning class at the Buckwheat 100 in Newburg, West Virginia, my hometown. This is the last round of the GNCC for 2020. What a crazy year. Hope you all had a healthy year. Now let's get down to business. Let's go racing. Chuck Garrettson and Leroy In case you haven't noticed, I decided to take out the RMZ 450 from storage and bring it out here and rip the dirt here in Newburg, West Virginia. It doesn't usually get a decent start, but today we did. Even though I about ran over Troy after he went down in the first turn. Heidi and I walked the trails yesterday, decided to run the 450. I haven't been on the 450 for about 3 to 4 months. Since then, I had broke my collarbone. I've been kind of taking it easy. Kind of just filling out the 450 at this moment. The 450 is definitely a bit much for this trail. I knew it was going to be, but the last 2 times I've raced, I've been wanting to run the 450. The last GNCC, I went to tech inspection and had a flat tire. If you haven't seen that one, that was the Mason-Dixon. I made a video on that also. Check it out. But then the last race was our local at the SXCS. I was wanting to run it there, and it became a mudder. So I didn't want to yank the 450 out of mud holes all day. So I ran the beta there. So I was determined that I was wanting to get the 450 out and try it. Even though it was not the best choice for such a tight track, I just wanted to see how I would do on it. Hear me screaming? And I said no, but honestly she was screaming and I just didn't know that was who it was. But yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with the 450. My heart rate's high, getting some arm pump, and the worst of it's just to come. But I believe I got into the woods 5th and I made a couple passes, so that puts me up in 3rd. Not too bad for the 450 on the first lap. Like I said, I've ran many 450s throughout the years, but this one for some odd reason will not start in gear. So I have to start it in neutral, throw it in first gear, and do the best I can with what I got to work with. Now the beta, it's electric start, and that thing starts before I even push the button, it seems like. But well, we'll find out how it turns out here as I'm ripping out through here. It's definitely turns, there's Richie, turns, and the name of the game is turns. And let me tell you, I got tired. this was one of my favorite parts of the track. It was not as bad as far as the turn is concerned. It's definitely not straight, but I could keep the 450 rolling fairly well through here. I can't blame anybody but myself for running the 450, because between Heidi and I and Austin and I pretty much walked or biked the entire track. So I knew what I was getting myself into. But for some odd reason, I was determined from the time I loaded this thing up into the trailer until I unloaded it that I was wanting to run it. So I checked this out yesterday. I thought the left lane would be the smoothest, but this stuff was a little slick. It wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. But we walked up through here. I had a line picked out, and well, I decided I was going to hit it on the first lap, and I totally forgot about the drop off on the other side. So you jump across the rut, come up through here, and oh crap, I forgot about there being a drop off there. Hey, remember the guy that fell over in the first turn, Troy? Well, he just passed me, so he got her gathered back up, and now I got her running down. We're starting to catch some of the riders that started ahead of us. It's the Pro Women Sportsman A 45A, and this course is very tight. What you're seeing is pretty much what the whole course was all about, other than the field section. Heidi and I walked it yesterday. This is actually the section that Heidi and I walked. The 450 is better for high-speed, flowy tracks, and we kind of thought that the Beta might have too soft a suspension, because I'm yet to get that done. I'm going to get that taken care of over the winter, so I don't have no excuses. But what we didn't walk was the backside. But I did get up with my puppy Temper, Australian Shepherd, and my e-bike, and came back and rode first thing this morning, race day. And I did see that it was a lot tighter than I thought it was going to be, but I've already made the decision to run the 450. And besides, I've ran locals here before many times on a 450. I raced nothing but a 450 last year, so I thought, what's the big deal? Let's just bring out the 450 and see what we can do. The only thing that's different is that I had broke my collarbone. I haven't been doing no exercise, and I've been doing very little racing. But what racing I have done was on a totally different bike, and right now I'm starting to struggle at this point. As you can tell, it's turn, and more turns, and the suspension on this thing is a lot stiffer than what's on the Beta, so I'm not feeling secure at all. This is the big downhill. You can't tell how steep it is, but it's pretty steep. But from this point out, pretty much clear till we get to the next field, it's like this. It's just one turn after another, and the 450 is definitely geared way too fast. I'm struggling just about every turn. I got arm pump, and yes, I'm whining. I'm whining a lot, actually. as Heidi and I was hanging out at the Trail Seeker 1 truck camper, one of the things that people comes up and ask the most is, well, what are you running today? It's kind of, I don't know, it's a running joke or whatever, but here I did walk this, and unfortunately I make the dumbest mistake. I missed, there's a line to the left of it, and I saw the course marshal this morning when I was on my e-bike cutting it in. Like, ah, crap, I missed it. So the hill's clogged up. I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so other than going up the trail backwards. So I turn around here, and I hit the line that I knew I should have made. But I don't think that was the quickest thing to do. I probably should have just tried to sit there and burn myself up that hill. But at this point, I've got arm pump, and I'm tired. Holy cow, I'm tired. And I'm beating myself in the head for running the 450. But I'm 2 hours sick for this big boy. Yeah. Once I told people that I was going to make the decision to run the 450, I had to run the 450. So that's what one of the reasons I'm on it. Saturday, that was the decision. Sunday, I probably would have went to the beta if points were involved, but I'm out here just for fun. I'm not sure where I'm going, but I guarantee it wasn't any faster. That was a long ways around a couple rocks. But the bad thing about this thing, it does not have the push button, so the last thing I want to do is have to kick it. Trust me, I do it a few times anyways. This is Gregory Richardson. He's a local. I've actually battled with him a few times at some of our locals, and he actually beat me. I think the last time I ran the Mountain State Hare Scramble. It was my first race back since the broken collarbone, and we battled a few times. Check that out if you want to see us battle. That was the last race at the Mountain State Hare Scramble. And actually, I believe he is on the thumbnail of my last video at the GNCC. So we've been seeing a lot of each other here the last few races. But today we're in different classes. At the locals I usually run 40A, and here at the nationals I'm running 50A. So he started the line ahead of me in the 45A. So this is a local race for us. We've ran local races here several times, and this is actually some of the trail that we've ran in the past. But I can tell you we had no advantage as far as the way the GNCC laid it out. We would get on a spot that we would recognize for about 3 seconds, and then they would take us off in through the woods. And as you see, the trees are, losing the leaves. You can see very well, but there is nowhere to go unless you had a machete out there to cut the trail. It's very tight, hard to pass. You had to be patient, and I wasn't feeling very secure at all the entire day. The first lap here, I'm just trying to survive, to be honest with you. At this point, I'm starting to lose my arm pump a little bit, starting to relax a little bit, but I did not feel secure at all the entire day on this bike. And I think it's because the beta, although it is very soft and not good for high speeds. Whenever you are on the choppy stuff, which this was pretty choppy, it felt very secure and very planted, to where on the 450 it's bouncing around. The front end doesn't feel like it's sticking through these little rock sections. So I didn't feel very secure at all the entire day. That was one of very few places I've seen to pass throughout this entire course. There were a few places that some hot lines got cut in, but it was very tough to get around people. And now we're coming out to where I thought the 450 would be, one of the main reasons why I picked the 450 is for the higher speed sections, which I thought the field would be. Even in the field, I did not feel secure at all. And I knew there was a two-stroke behind me. I thought it was somebody in my class, and they didn't say anything, they didn't holler. For some odd reason, I did not come out here and look at these fields. And the locals, we've never ran this field before. And this turn right here, I mess this turn up every time. If you race this race, let me know how you got around there, because I mess that turn up every time. And these blind jumps, like right there, I rolled it. And there was many different places that I was slow in the field section. Now this, we ran many times, and it is actually kind of tricky. It's got a lot of roots in it. The mud, or the dirt, is very slick. There's almost no traction. And right here, I see the two-stroke that was following me there for a while. Still, he wasn't saying anything, so I thought he was in my class, but we'll see who it is here shortly. So even though he wasn't yelling, here's the guy that was following me. This is my nemesis from my last year running the 50A. I ran the whole series. That's Stefan. He finished at the end of the year first in the 50A, and I was second in the 50A. I moved up from the 45A. I won the championship in it. I thought, man, I'm going to move up to the 50 class. And I had no problems at all. And let me tell you, there's some old men out there that are still pretty fast. And so I had to actually get my butt in gear, get in shape. I had to get a big tank so I didn't have to stop for gas. And by the end of the year, I was catching him, making some wins, but I just ended up a little bit short. But today, I didn't have much for him. Actually, this is the bike that I won many times last year throughout the year. But I'm just not in the conditioning that I was last year, and now it's time to follow him for a little while. I think I do follow him for about a lap or so. This is an interesting little section through here. It's pretty much one line, as you can see. But we're getting ready to wrap up the first lap, and starting to get to feel the 450 a little better, but one thing I definitely have learned, I got some work to do on the suspension on this thing. Always thought it felt pretty good, but as you may know, you don't know what you don't have until you get on something that has it, and then when you get back on your bike, then you realize what you don't have. So you don't realize you don't have it until you try it. Something that does, basically. So I've got some suspension work to do on this thing as well. So I came across the line 4th, and now I got some work to do to get caught back up here and see if I can lay down a decent lap. This was a fun little dip that I checked out. I thought that jump would be a little more fun than it was, and now I'm coming by my own pits, a lot of friends and family, and there's my wife Heidi taking some pictures. Now we brought her bike, we loaded it up, she was going to race, but when we got to the track and seeing how tight it was, one of the things that she doesn't like about a tight track is getting ran off. Her last GNCC race, a gentleman came up behind her. Well, I guess I don't know if you would call him a gentleman, but pushed her off the track down over the hill. He landed on top of her. He got up, picked his bike up, and took off and never offered to help her get her bike picked up as it was on top of her. So she is not a big fan of tight tracks where she can't get herself off the track and out of the way. So we now are on the 2nd lap, and I'm starting to get the hang of the 450 again. It's starting to feel a little better to me. But this is the side of the track that is a little more straighter. You can run the 450 a little higher gear, and I'm still able to maintain a decent speed. You come up here, and sometimes you just got to make your own trail and hope for the best. So, all right. Here's my 3rd place gentleman. Let's see how I can find a way to get around him. This is Troy. He's the one who went down in the first turn, and I made a few mistakes, probably more than he did. But now it's time to try to find a way to get around him on this tight course. One thing I do want to acknowledge is I had a lot of people throughout the course yelling my name and giving me good directions, and I sure appreciate that. Anytime you see this old man out there, as Bobby Joe's up there screaming and AW is pointing out the direction I need to go, that's AW, one of my good friends, and I didn't even realize that was him as I went by, but he picked me out a good line. I got around him. Unfortunately, it didn't last long because leave it up to me to pick a stupid line, he gets back around me. But after I almost run over this guy, I picked the right line, hit the 450, and actually get a little bit of juice out of it, and was able to pass him. And I think that's the last time I've seen him for the day. this was a fun little rolling hill, pretty typical of this area, just a bunch of little ups and downs. I think it's from this area being mined or timbered or something, but GNCC definitely took advantage of every little feature of this property. And like I said, there was a few times we ran races out here and you would recognize a spot, but you wouldn't be on it very long, and then they bring you over into a new section that nobody's ever ran. So now we're on the second lap, and what that means, we'll start catching traffic. And I see somebody up there that just passed us. That was the gentleman that I battled last year. I must be feeling a little better because now I'm catching back up with him. And I believe I followed him for a good lap. And actually gives me like a rabbit to chase. And as I talked earlier in some other videos, you gotta have motivation, and especially on a day like today, whenever I wasn't feeling my best and I really didn't have nothing to gain as far as points. I was just out here riding for a while, but once I saw Stefan up there, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try to keep up with him, and that gave me motivation to pick it up a little. I'm starting to push the throttle a little harder, but still this stupid turn here screws me up every time. But we are Trail Seeker Adventures. We go out and bring the adventures to you to help you decide whether or not it's something that you're interested in doing, whether it's a race event or whether it's a ride park. Even though we didn't get out and go to as many ride parks as we would like to this year, we're going to try again next year. But we also do mountain biking trails. Got a video out for snowboarding, snowshoe, and also downhill mountain biking at snowshoe. Got a video about that to help you see if that's something you're interested in doing. And we've been out to west in the western states to do some riding. We'll let you know what the trails out there are like. From Motor Park, half of McCoy's. But if you like getting out on a trail, whether you're walking, hiking, running, mountain biking, four-wheeling, whatever it may be, we get out here, take our adventures, bring it to you to help you find out whether it's something you want to do. And that way you know before you get out on the couch and load your bike, if that's something you want to yourself into. So make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. We've been doing this for about a year now, and you know, we get to the sites or the tracks or wherever we are, and some people mention that they like watching the videos because, you know, they get information that they don't get other places, or they like how we describe the track or whatever it may be. That helps us to know that we're doing something right, but most of all, we need subscriptions to our channel to let us know that we're doing it right, and it's worth our time going out here and doing all of the videoing and preparing it for you. But make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching our videos and letting us know how well we're doing. It's getting a little crowded there at the end of lap 2. As I'm coming rolling in, I'm pretty sure I am third. I'm not sure how far back I am, but once I come through the checkpoint or the finish line, it showed me about 30 seconds back from second with 2 laps to go. And I felt 30 seconds, that's not bad for as bad as I was feeling throughout the day on the first lap. And I knew I picked it up a little bit on the second lap. I didn't realize that, you know, I was still in contestants to win. So I thought I'd hammer down and try to make up that 30 seconds. So as we are starting the third lap, 30 seconds back from second. I'm not sure how far I was from first, but come to find out, I was only 32 seconds back from first at this point. As they're cheering me on, and I'm trying to look as good as I can. Coming down and trying to pick up the speed as much as I can, but I'm feeling pretty tired. But I'm going to do what I can. Like I said, I knew I was third. I knew I was 30 seconds back, but I had no idea I was only 32 seconds because the guy in second was right behind the guy in first. So as I'm catching traffic, trying to play it smart, not making the big mistake, I'm coming out through here. And actually this section here, when Paul Kuntz ran this series, I actually made this trail right here. But unfortunately it doesn't work out because I fall over. And on the trail that I made, I don't know, probably 6 years ago, we needed to reroute some 50s, and I threw this little section here in. And well, unfortunately I don't have the push button on the old 450. It took a little while to get going, but that's one of many mistakes I make on this lap, and we're about to come to mistake number 2. Come ripping out of the field, coming down to the mud section. Somebody told me to come to the right, so I went to the right. I appreciate that very much for all your help. And then I seen that didn't look good, so I decided to cut left here. And AW told me I was 20-some seconds back. And unfortunately, I don't know what went wrong. I hit the gas a little bit on that one little hump, and I'm pretty sure my left hand fell off the grip. I lost traction off the handlebars. I'm not sure what it was, but it wasn't pretty. I blame AW for scaring me, but that was the first time that I saw him and actually realized it was him. We got the old bike fired up and got going again, but after that it kind of knocked all the wind out of my sails. I knew I was only 30 seconds back, and I think I screwed up here again. And basically at this point I just wanted to get to the finish line. So needless to say, I didn't make up the 30 seconds. Actually, I just lost 30 seconds right there, and I actually started going backwards. I was just riding. I felt sketched out all day for some odd reason. I had 2 good friends that just recently, my good friend Bob for many years, he actually at the Mountaineer had, hey, thanks for cheering me on. He had wrecked and bruised the spinal cord and couldn't walk for several days, and he's still in recovery, but he's up and moving. And my good friend Christian, at a local at the Mountain State Hare Scramble, he wrecked and basically did the exact same thing. But he did fracture some stuff in his neck, and he wasn't able to walk for a while, but he's back up and recovering, but it's going to be a very slow process for both of them. So that was in the back of my mind. I just broke my collarbone, and I'm just getting healed from that. At this point, you know, there was no points involved. It was out here just for fun, trying to get a little bit back in shape. Just at this time, I was just wanting to get to the finish line as safe as possible. My back was starting to hurt. I have all kinds of excuses, but I had an awesome day. Home on my home track. I actually was raised about 3 miles from here. I have moved from this location, not too far. I'm about 45 minutes from this location now, but had an awesome time out with friends and family. I sure appreciate everybody that had came out and was rooting me on. The little guys that came to the camper, and I got to give them some stickers, and I gave them some horn to root, you know, their rider on. I did appreciate all that on this weekend, but I had an awesome time. My wife was going to race Heidi, but she decided not to, as I'm tangled up with another tree. This is the section that I hated the most. It was just back and forth, off camber, rocky, trees out in the middle of the trail, and the 450 was just not built for this type of environment. I don't know how I dealt with it for so many years, but I've been on the beta, and I'm getting to the point to where maybe the 450 is not the bike for this old man, but I'm not giving it up yet. I'm racing it next weekend at the SXCS. I'll have that video out. And actually the SXCS, it's a GP, and I'm going to be able to run both bikes. I'll run 40A on one bike and run 50A on the other bike, and then compare the times. I feel I'm faster on the 450 in certain situations. but this is going to determine whether or not the 450 is going to stick around, or if I replace it with something else. I'm not sure, but at this point in time, I'm not feeling very comfortable on it as far as on this type of situation. This is the third lap, but we did do 4 laps. The GoPro's about to go dead. I ended up 3rd for the day and 41st overall. Not the best, but I'm okay with that, considering, you know, I really haven't been out here a lot, and a lot of these guys have been racing all year, so I had to talk myself into being okay with it. First in my class, Chuck on his Honda got 1st, Billy Evans got 2nd, I got 3rd, Ralph Thorne, another local, got 4th, and Troy ended up 5th for the day. Tim Cosner, he was talking to me before the race, and he got 6th.
Thank you, buddy.
But as I was saying, I had an awesome weekend. I got to hang out with my wife, which it's awesome having somebody that loves doing the same thing that you do. I got to hang out with my daughter Tiffany and the grandbabies, help them to get themselves all dirty so they can go home and have mama to clean them up afterwards. But that's what racing's all about for me, is going out with family and friends, hanging out. I love the competition of it. And with people getting hurt around me, it just, you know, I've broke my back, and I've also, you know, broke a few bones after that. But when it's a sport that you love so much, it's hard to walk away. But that's the idea, is to be able to walk away. So if you have any injuries or something that you want to bring out, make sure you leave a comment. There goes Randall Irving. Didn't know it, but I thought, well, am I getting lapped? Because I don't usually get lapped at a GNCC. But come to find out, he had issues with his clutch. He had to make repairs, and was just catching back up with me. He started the line ahead of me, and somehow I got around him without seeing him. But make sure you like and subscribe to our channels, or our channel. We are Trail Seeker Adventures. We bring you our adventures to help you find a trail that's suitable for you, whether it's a race event or a ride park. Next year, I hope to get out and do more ride parks. Heidi and I want to do more dual sport riding and different things. I'm not sure whether we're going to be doing any series, but thanks for watching, and hit the logo in the middle in order to subscribe or watch our next video. Thanks.